This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
The TalkSport Fan Network is proudly supported by McDelivery, bringing you the food you love. McDelivery brings a top-tier line of food right to your door. No matter the result, you'll always be winning with McDelivery. So, the only thing left to say is, you in? Order now on the McDonald's app, and you can also get rewards points delivered too, so that ordering today means some tasty rewards for tomorrow. Only via app at participating restaurants, 18 plus. Rewards registration required. Points only on menu items. Delivery fee and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
Will look to pick it up and he'll go on here. Left two up here, Bradford. It's Beagrey. He's got to make this count. It's Beagrey. It's 1-1. You'll see a somersault now. You'll get a double.
City till I die. City till I die. We want Sparks out. 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 We want Sparks out.
Right, wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and welcome to this special Tranmere, Bradford vs Tranmere podcast. It's supposed to be tomorrow, but we've moved it forward for today. So I want to get the basically thoughts of everybody. So we're just going to talk about the post-match Harrogate game, pre-match Tranmere, and then obviously we'll get into the stuff, what's happened, the weather forecast for the Bradford game, score predictions, and what's on your plate. So we're joined by Stan and Diane, and hopefully Leo can hear me.
Good evening, guys.
Good
evening, everybody.
Chance of a few showers, and then unfortunately tomorrow evening we'll see another band of rain.
We've got a weather forecast early.
Oh,
we have.
So,
Turn it off.
Temperatures in.
There you go.
So, Stan, what's your thoughts, obviously, on the Harrogate game?
Yeah, it's kind of was to be expected, really. I think when second and third goals went in, I just laughed. It was just comical, really. We are fragile, aren't we, as a team mentally at the moment? Obviously, the confidence is low. Doubled by the fact that I think he's lost the dressing room. Personally, I think that, and sort of like post match when he was asked about, Kelly being on the bench and playing Rydalge, who did have a good game at Accrington, excuse me, by the way. But it all seems to have gone to pot. So it's kind of like we could have equalised. I think Terry Wright, all he has to do is just slot it either side. The keeper was closer to his line, so he left him a big enough angle. So he showed a bit of lack of composure. But then I think, we missed Tompkinson, I think, and missed basically the trio of Tompkinson, Platt, and Kelly, really, for my liking in terms of the defence. Now, in terms of, I'm going to say in terms of the midfield, but the midfield hardly barely touched it because it was being hoofed over the head. So they didn't really get involved. I mean, they were, sort of playing in a ferocious wind. So what do? You hoof it. Do you not think, well, if you play it on the ground, play it on the floor, you can kind of bypass that. But yeah, that's all I've got to say for now on this matter.
About yourself, Diane, love?
I watched it on iFollow, so I feel sorry for you lot that went. I was at my dad's watching it. I was trying not to swear because I were at my dad's. But even my dad's, even when he saw a bit of it, do you know, my iPad is going, they're not supporting each other, weren't the team. Do you know, like being there for each other on backup? And that's from my dad's point of view. And he didn't hardly see any of the match. But I don't know what's happening. Why the hell are we not playing like we are? We can play. It's just, I don't know what's happening with that team at the moment. Like Stan says, it looks like he's lost the dressing room.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts, Johnny? Because you were there, weren't you?
I would say as I was pissed off. I think I bumped into you, didn't I, Stan?
Yeah, you did, yeah. Yep.
So I bumped into Stan. It took me a while to click on who it was, to be fair. It took me a while to click on. But watching the game, they kept just doing stupid things by kicking the ball into the wind. And I'm like, what are you doing? And eventually I just left at 60th minute. I just got in the car and went. Just left. I was just fed up. Team's not playing very well. And there's issues from top to bottom, but we'll get there in a bit. Labib?
I was going to say, can I just say something? Me and my dad having a laugh. Do you know the A2 goes from Harrogate to Bradford? My dad said, if I was Alexandra, I'd turn around and tell them to get on that bus and get off at Woodhouse Grove and train. Do you after that match?
Yeah.
That's what my dad was. Get him on A2 and let him have out fans.
Yeah.
Labib, what were your thoughts on the game?
Evening all. Pretty much as Stan and Diane have already said, I went up, I was there at the game. And the thing is, I was on the standing bit, and I was there last year. So just to make the point, they've obviously extended that standing terrace a little bit to make it a bit bigger, because I think they've lost half of it and put some seats on. But from where I was stood, it looked like the pitch slopes downwards a little bit. I don't know if that's actually the case, but it looked like there's a gentle slope on it. So the point I was making is the first half, we were playing down the hill with the wind behind our back. And I thought we're going to have to go in at half time with at least a goal lead, if not two. Because in the second half, you're playing up a slight slope against the wind. And it's just common sense. Like people have always said, we were just like pumping the ball forward into a headwind. You could see the goal kicks at that bottom end when the keeper was taking them. They'd travel about 30 yards and just come straight back. And it was just the way we played. It was just absolutely nonsensical. I went to Accrington a couple of weeks ago, and we I think most of us said the link-up play that day was really, really good. Okay, Accrington are not world beaters. They're not particularly high in the table. They were struggling themselves. Harrogate, they're holding their own in this division. They're no set of mugs. We know people like O'Connell, Sutton, Foles, are all, half decent League Two players. And I think I tweeted their centre half absolutely bossed Andy Cook. I don't think Andy Cook got a look in. And he just had him in his pocket, to be blunt, for the whole afternoon. And the way we played did not suit the conditions, the state of the pitch, the wind. Everything that we did was just so poor. I think there was a bit of endeavour, a bit of effort, but the quality was just absolutely missing. And it makes me ask questions that people have already said so far. What is going on with the mentality of some of these players? It looks like, half the time they're just not bothered. Like Mansfield last week, you leave your leading goal scorer on the bench. Couldn't see the sense behind that. This time round, you lead one of your most consistent defenders on the bench in Kieran Kelly. I think he's had a great season. Why would you leave him on the bench? No idea. And I just didn't get. I've moaned about it before. Some of Alexander's team selections just make no sense to me at all. And I think Stan's just tweeted the same, and I've said the same. I don't get what he's doing half the time, really. So those are my thoughts on it.
And what about yourself, Lee?
Just agree with everybody else. I'm usually the eternal optimist. I could see nothing in that game from any player to be optimistic about. Cook were wandering about as if he just couldn't be asked. He looked annoyed most of that game. If you looked at his face and his body language, what were he angry at? I don't know. It was just a nightmare game. It wasn't one of those cases where you could say they were trying so hard it didn't go. You know, like sometimes the harder you try, the worse it gets. It wasn't that. They were just rubbish. Absolutely, like overnight. Well, it ain't overnight. It's last 4 games. Nothing there. Have they been told they're going next season? We don't know what's going on above in managerial and people running club. I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a throat today. I've got all my throat just to, be a bit weird without a throat, won't I? But it's just defies logic. How can a team that can turn up against top sides and beat them suddenly lose to bottom of the league, lose to those in and around teams that they should be beating, be capable of beating, they're just not executing? Is the reason that Alexander's sitting up in stand at Valley Parade because the players, has he lost the dressing room? I'm not even sure about that. I've watched Bradford City for a long time, and I have never seen. I've seen performances that's been on a par, but for different reasons. I have never seen a team at Bradford that won't pull the socks off and have a go. They're just not giving it a go at all. It's like they don't want to go up. Sparks the reason. I don't think Ruppers, I've got to be honest, if he hadn't bought the club, we wouldn't probably have a club now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sparks hasn't a clue.
Okay, so we'll get rid of the Tranmere game, start off with, and then we'll go on to basically rant and rave about the ownership and stuff after. I can't find the referee for the game. I've tried to look, so I can't find it. So it's Bradford City versus Tranmere at 3 o'clock, 29th of March, Good Friday, at University Stadium. Bradford have won 4 games. They've drawn 1, and Tranmere have won 4. On the 20th of April 2020, Bradford lost 1-0. 23rd of November 2021, Bradford lost 2-1. 15th of April 2022, Bradford drew 1-0. 3rd September 2022, Bradford won 2-1. 14th February 2023, Bradford City won 2-0. And the 3rd of October 2023, Bradford lost 2-1. Bradford City are ranked 20 goals scored per match, 1.2. Haven't scored in their last 2 matches. Haven't won at home in their last 5 matches. And Tranmere ranked 9 goals per match, 1.5 goals. Luke McGee is ranked 3rd, saves per match in 3.2. Leo Connor has created the most big chances of Tranmere at 7. Tranmere are currently 15th. They've played 40 with a goal difference of 2 and they're on 50 points. Bradford have dropped down to 17th with 39 games played, -7 goal difference and goal difference of 50 points. So what's everybody's thoughts on the stats for the game?
I think it's difficult. I think the stats go out the window in terms of previous engagements and stuff. I think the issue that Alexander's got now, he's got to find a way to find a set of players that are demoralised and somehow pick them up and hope that Tranmere are below par, because if they're anywhere near their capabilities, then I think it's going to be the same again. So I'm not optimistic for Friday. I'm going to go because that's what I do, but it's it's kind of like So I think it's going to be a tough game. I don't think we'll win it, and I think it's going to be very difficult to motivate the players. I would hope that for most part that they would have some pride, and I think they do. In previous years, I've kind of slagged players off, but I think they do. I think they've had a lot to contend with this season. So, but he's got to, if it's Alexander's going to be the man, he's got to earn his coin and he's got to get something out of Friday.
Yeah, Diane, love.
So my thought keeps going. I keep going croaky. I'm just looking at league table, and we're both on 50 points. So it's a 6-pointer as well. I don't know. The players just have to pull the socks up, work hard in training, and show that they are worthy of placing the team on Friday. Not just turn up and play like they were playing on Saturday. They need to show they're worthy for a place in that team, the wage that they're getting, and everything. And if they're out of contract, worthy a new contract next summer. Hopefully, though, Tomkins will be back. And then we've got Kavanagh back from international duty as well. So will that change the dynamics of the match?
And Labib?
Yeah, my view is when you're playing football at professional level, I think 95% of it is down to confidence. I don't necessarily think it's about technical ability. And at the moment, I think we've absolutely shot of all confidence at all whatsoever. And I think that's our main struggle. It's that mental strength and that mental kind of resilience. And I think we're spent. We don't seem to have any at all. How do you resolve that? It's got to be down to the coaching. And I used to say this with Mark Hughes as well, is the consistent performers are the people that can turn it in, not only over 90 minutes, but from game to game. And last season, I think there was a real lack of that. We didn't have consistent performers, apart probably from Andy Cook and Harry Lewis. But this season, the only major consistent performer has probably been Brad Halliday. So consistency and confidence is something that we don't have, and I think that's why we're struggling. How's it going to go on Friday? We all know how bad our home form is. I'm not going. I'm not making the journey up from Nottingham. I'm going to stay at home on Good Friday and relax at home. But I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a struggle. Take your point that you made, Diane. I think it will change our lineup to get JT back and to get Kavanagh back. I think, if anything, that might give us a bit of a boost. So I can't see anything other than a draw or a very, very narrow win, 1-0 type of thing. But, I can't see anything other than that, really.
What about yourself, Lee?
I just don't think we can buy a win at the moment. It's just there just doesn't seem to be the effort in the team. There's a saying in rugby, I've coached rugby league and rugby union, 95% perspiration, which means you work your socks off, 5% inspiration. So in line with what Labib says, that's exactly the same thing. It's not about ability, it's about how hard are you willing to push yourself to get something from a game. And that's true for amateur, for semi-pro, pro, whatever. You've got to push yourself. You've got to want to, change things for yourself. Those players, if I were stood in front of them, I would be pointing out, it's not for the manager that they're playing, it's not for the club that they're playing for them fans that pay hard-earned cash and have hard lives for a lot of them, but they turn up every week for those players, and those players owe them, in my opinion. And I am angry, as you can probably tell. I didn't expect other night, but that was just terrible. Absolutely terrible. I know it's warming. Terrible.
And we'll just get rid of all the boring stuff out of the way first, and then we'll hit this Bradford City next. So score predictions for Good Friday, Stan?
I'll say we're going to lose 3-0.
Yep. Diane?
I'm going to say about a 2-0 win to us. We've got to get a win behind us.
Labib?
Ever the optimist, I'll go for a home win, 1-0.
Lee?
I'll go for a 1-0 win, and I'm open. I
personally think we're going to get battered again. And then I think it's going to turn a bit toxic. But, right, what everybody's here for. What is going on at Bradford?
Sorry, before we crack on, you've probably also seen that there's going to be a protest on Friday before the game.
Event.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to talk about that in a minute. But
yeah, we're going to get to that, Libby. Just basically, everything's going to get thrown in the pot and we're going to mush it up and digest it all.
Cool, yeah.
Right, so moving on there. So we'll start off with, basically, this is normally just news and everything, but obviously we've got bigger fish in the pond. So we're going to talk about basically what's going on at Bradford City and what's happening, really. Anyone want to start and just vent, stress, shout about anything?
I think Labib was going to bring a point up, so you may as well start.
Yeah, go to Labib.
Yeah, sorry, it was just to mention that it was the Bradford City Independence Group, fans group, that had organised a protest. So that's, if I can remember the details, I don't have it in front of me, but to take place outside the main stand at about 2 p.m. So obviously, if you're that way inclined, go along and kind of join the protest. And if you're not, obviously don't. And I think a lot of people have obviously said they're not actually going to go to the game. They're just going to go along and kind of vent their kind of anxiety that they've got at the moment. And if I was closer to Bradford, I would have gone for the protest. It's difficult to put your finger on it. I think Rope is culpable. I think Sparks is culpable. And for people that read the drivel that I tweet, I'm not overly impressed with Alexander either. So I don't know where the changes need to be. Possibly at all three levels, at the ownership level, at the CEO level, and for me, probably at the managerial level as well. So, but that's a massive, massive overhaul. We've always spoken about, for success to arrive, you need some stability at the club. And the last kind of period of stability we had was Parky, when he was there. So he had like 5 years. And each year we got better and better, and we progressed forward and forward each year. And since he left, we've had this, merry-go-round of managers. So we've had instability and uncertainty, and that is no way to bring about success. So I appreciate I'm contradicting myself in terms of asking for change, and obviously realising that doesn't guarantee success. But the way the club is structured at the moment, it just feels really, really disjointed. I'll just make one final point. Next season absolutely scares me to death. We know, I think most of us will probably have heard, there's so many people that are not going to renew the season tickets. And that, as we know, our self-sustainable model means our playing budget will be cut next year. We're not going to be as competitive next year as we were this year, which then means I think we're going to have a poorer quality squad than we've got this year. We've mentioned the state of the pitch. Is that going to need further investment to kind of bring it up to a better standard? Can we do that with a reduced budget? Can we still remain competitive? And I said that just frightens me. Because if we carry on at this rate, we're going to be looking at the National League straight in the face.
Yeah. So I've got the basically the thing what the Independent have put up. So it's got date and time, Good Friday, 29th of the 3rd, 2024, meeting at 13:30. And then I think that's at the Shell Garage, and then the protest starts at 2 o'clock, located the Corporation Suite entrance, Morrison stand. We ask supporters to come with banners or flyers printed out to use during the protest. This is a peaceful protest. Please allow room for fans to enter the stadium. And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. We don't want dickheads coming there, politely putting it. Don't bring pyrotechnics and don't ruin it for others. If you just want to go and watch. Because I'm just going to go and watch it and see what it's about. Let's get change done and let's get Bradford City out of the mire it's in before it's too late and improve on and off the pitch. Does anyone else want to chat about this protest? Stan?
Yeah, it all depends, doesn't it? I think as I understand it, it's about the awareness to bring it to Stefan's attention of the feeling across the fans, I would have thought the season ticket sales are a key indicator of how the fans feel. To be honest, I don't have a problem either way if they do or they don't. If they do, like you say, as long as it's nothing that's sort of negative in terms of behaviour, then protest. That's fine. I think it's kind of just listening to what Labib was talking about, and my own thoughts as well. That it's a bit kind of it's a bit doom and gloom, really, because it's if you look at Stefan's strategy, you kind of think, well, yeah, he all he wants is it to keep it ticking over, get somebody in to basically pay his asking price, and then he can just chalk that off to one of those life experiences. I think, obviously, talking about Parky, we did have stability, but I think that was down to Lawn and Rhodes, despite their kind of failings. But they did take the club forward, albeit in some ways it was obviously kind of the fans didn't agree with it, but they do have and did have the club's interests at heart. I think, unfortunately, it's basically since Edin and Stefan came in, and Stefan was always going to be the silent partner and let Edin run it, and it's more to do with that. And obviously, it's been sort of since. I mean, it's been long enough since Edin's gone, and the appointment of Sparks is obviously not the right decision, and you probably have to, if you kind of had any kind of fly in the wall situation in there, you would have probably said, like with hindsight, that not taking hindsight into account, that it probably wasn't the best appointment. I've always said that the highest paid person in my club, if I would be the CEO, because that's who drives the club forward. That's who comes up with a strategy, who implements a strategy, not just commercially, but on the field and what goes into on the field, whether that's like director of football or not. But obviously, the kind of sets the philosophy for the club, and unfortunately, Ryan is very much out of his depth. He hasn't deserved the personal abuse he's got, but you don't have to be. You only have to be barely human to say that's like that shouldn't be a thing anyway. But unfortunately, he's been quite reactionary in terms of he hasn't really had a plan. Now, I would argue, I would have to say that Stefan must know what's going on in the club. So I think he's culpable in the sense that he's allowed things to get to this state, because obviously, when you are relying on that model, if it does go wrong, then that model, is very brittle, because obviously all it takes is for the wheels to come off a little bit, and then quite a bit I'd say this last 6, 7, 8 months or whatever, that it then becomes almost like an untenable strategy. So I agree. I'm not so fussed. I wouldn't have a problem with Stefan Rupp staying at the club if he kind of realises, right, okay, well, if I really want to get something back on my investment, then I'm going to have to invest, and that means invest in a proper CEO and get somebody in and get somebody else to manage. Because I it's okay saying, well, we can't chop and change, but at the same time, don't put something that's not good in place just for the sake of continuity. And for me, and obviously Labib agrees with me in the terms of Graham Alexander, I was underwhelmed by him. And, I think if anyone out of the bunch that we were interviewing at the time, probably Dave Artell, from what I'd heard in interviews and things like that. But, I think it was, on, as I understand it, I don't know where I heard this from or whatever, but he was almost like interviewing Ryan Sparks, and he's like saying, Sparks was saying about him being, the answer to what's going on in the field, but he turned it around and says, but what's your role? What are you going to do? And I don't think Sparks could answer that. So unfortunately, unless we get those fundamental blocks replaced and better foundations, then the rest of it will kind of fall into play. And so for me, this obviously this season's done, but I am worried because not only for the fact for next season that the playing budget's going to be poor, but I don't see what strategy Alexander's going to have. And if you're going to get out of League Two, you need a strategy to not be a Carlisle and come down at the first attempt. You need to have a team, and this team, for most part, obviously the recruitment was hit and miss in the summer, but for most part, this team's played really well against League One opposition, and I think this team would suit a League One style football. That's not to say that you can't play football in this league because Orient did it last year. So unfortunately, the future is bleak unless something changes.
So I know Callie's joined us. Apologise to Callie. I know we were supposed to do this yesterday. I'm not sure where to work. So Callie, what's your thoughts on the just basically protesting and
I'm probably going to sound like an old record, but same as what... sorry, good evening everybody first. I should say good evening, where's my manners? I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I said it last week. I think the players' heads had gone down. We're just playing, like Richard Wilkinson said a few weeks ago, it's just friendlies now really, isn't it, for the last few games. I'm like Labib, I'm not driving up Friday. I'm not spending all that money to drive up there to watch a group of players that have given up. I think the manager's given up, I think the players have given up. So, and I've given up really for this season. I've renewed my season ticket. I'll be there again next season like I always am, but it's over for me now, I think.
So if we lose, Callie, on Friday, do you think we're going to get a bit of deja vu like what happened with the former manager Hughes? Do you think he'll get sacked if we lose on Friday?
It's what we've done in the past, isn't it? It's what we usually do. So I can't see what the difference is going to be this time. Has he been given enough time? No, I don't think he has. But I don't think it's like Stan's just been saying, I don't think he's the right person to take us forward. But who is? We got Graham when nobody else wanted us, basically. We were second choice to everybody, and who would want to manage us right now? Even so, I don't think anybody wants it, do they?
No, I think it's like I know Stan had your comment read out on Radio Leeds. I even said something to Radio Leeds earlier about just it needs change from the top because you need to stop punishing people at the bottom of the pyramid. It starts to go for people at the top, and I'm actually glad the protest is happening. I'll go and see it. I'll go and watch it from a distance just to see what happens, and just to see what happens there. Miss Diane.
Yep.
Thoughts on just gender what's going on at this minute at the club?
What's going on in the club, nobody knows. But when they do the protest, is Ryan Sparks going to be there? Is Rook going to be there? Is going to be anybody there that's going to take notice of them? Do you like the hierarchy in the club? Because I don't think Rook will be there.
No, Rook won't be there. He's probably in Germany. But like you say, I know I can't remember. One of the guys from City Event said it, and I think Steve said it from Independent as well. If media get hold of it, obviously people will then see it. Other people see it, even it might land on Roop's doorstep.
I think it will.
Shocking at the minute at City.
Yeah, like we know, we do need what have we? As we have said before, we do need a change at the top, definitely. Getting rid of Alexander, is that a good idea? Like Callie says, has he been given enough time? He's only been in charge since November. And he said the post-match interview, he said that it's been happening, something about it's not just now that it's happened about how we're playing, but it's been going on a lot longer. It's the dressing room unrest with the players. Nobody knows. That protest might do something, but I'm not quite sure if it will. I might go see what's going on, but I'm not joining it. I'll probably walk past it when I'm going round to the cop, but I won't join it. Like I've renewed my season ticket. I'll still keep going to the home matches. I'm I'm going to the Salford away match. So I'll be there till end of season, and obviously I've renewed for next season as well. So things can only get better, as the song says. Hopefully we might finish in a decent position.
Do we actually think it's going to be a peaceful protest? I don't.
I think there's going to be some idiots.
Well, look what they were shouting at the Harrogate game.
Yeah.
That's going to be more. They're going to be more fueled now after that game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Than they were there.
Yeah. They are. I don't think it will be peaceful at all.
No, I don't.
Like you say, you will get some idiots. Being there. You're going to get some idiots trying to get into the banquet this week to get to rip off Sparks. But hopefully they'll stop them.
To ask, to be blunt, if you're going to protest, then the whole point is about raising awareness, right? So there's going to be, like at Harrogate game, I'm not sure what chants you're referring to, but I remember them shouting for Sparks to get out of the club. And I think most people that you talk to who are disgruntled will all point the finger at Sparks. So I think that's to be blunt, and I don't mean to sound rude, but surely that is going to be the most obvious demand of the protesters, is to see that change and to get a different CEO or a director of football. So that's what I would expect. I would expect them to be chanting to get Sparks out of the club. I don't want to see violence and aggression, of course. Nobody wants to see that, and I hope certainly that doesn't happen. I don't think it will. I think, we are capable of being well behaved, and I think the protest should raise that kind of discontent, and it should call for Sparks to leave the club. But it doesn't have to be aggressive, does it? You can still protest.
Is Jamie still? Are you still there, Jamie? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yes, you're right, guys. I think in terms of the protest, I do think it will start off as a peaceful protest. I do think there will be some chanting, but what I also think, and it's a sad state of affairs of the club, is that Ryan Sparks has got a few close friends around him that get very defensive. Now, do we know that they're not going to come out of the banqueting suite, try and defend Ryan Sparks, and actually stir up more anger from the fans?
Yeah.
Because
sorry, Jamie. So going back to what you've just said there, I know the Vet City event, Northwest Corner, and Steve from the Independent Group about basically if they don't want any trouble, want it peaceful. But like when we had the situation with the tennis ball issue, I noticed there were quite a lot of extra, should we say, security at the ground. So if that does happen, I agree with you there, Jamie, it might turn bad. But I want to make it clear as well, like I said at the podcast. Remember, people, if you're going, remember where you are doing it. You are doing it in the difference of the director of Manchester, the Morrison ground, Morrison Stadium thing, the director of not the Deep Pyros, but just remember what next to it, Memorial of 56. I know people, please don't think that. Have it peacefully.
Yeah, I do agree with the protest in a way, as long as it stays. First things first, I think at 3 o'clock, the people in the stadium, no matter what our thoughts may be on the players, at 3 o'clock, we should be encouraging those players on the pitch. No matter what's gone on in the past, that's the job of a supporter. At 3 o'clock, even if you've got the worst team in the world, at 3 o'clock, you're still going to want your support. You're still going to want to support your players on that pitch. Because, what's the point in going? I will never at the start of a match, I will never boo our players at the start of a game because they've already lost mentally. They've already lost. So any protests need to, at this point, in my opinion, need to stay outside the stadium. But obviously, a lot of people disagree with me with that, and that's their opinion. But
so I want to go.
We need to try and avoid the players getting involved in it.
The City event tweeted out 9 hours ago. This is currently had 11k views on Twitter. Morning, guys. On a Friday, winter protest is over. We are boycotting the game and going to North Parade instead for a few drinks. Feel free to join us. It would be great to see North Parade buzzing for Claret Amber. And then there's people underneath, or you can support your local team 100%. People agree. So, what's your thoughts on that, Jamie?
Personally, I disagree with that personally, because I think the whole point of supporting a club is that you back that club through thick and thin. I can appreciate people like Labib and Kelly that spend a lot of money coming every single match, home and away. And I can totally appreciate why you wouldn't want to spend that money at the moment for what we all see as a friendly game. But what I disagree with is fans encouraging other fans not to go to a game. I've never seen that whilst being a Bradford City supporter in all my years. And I disagree with that personally, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah. People are human. They've got their own brain cells, haven't they? If you want to go to game, go to game. If you don't, you don't.
Exactly, yeah. But I do think personally, Stefan Rupp, unless somebody comes in and makes a decent offer for the club, which I don't believe all these rumours about certain people bringing money in. I don't believe it until I see it. Yeah. Nobody has actually come out and said, I want to buy Bradford City Football Club publicly. They haven't. So we are stuck with Rupp. Whether we like it or not, we are stuck with Rupp at the moment. But what Rupp does need to do is to get rid of Ryan Sparks and bring somebody in who can actually have a vision for the future. That's what we don't have. We don't have a vision for the future. When Stuart McCall got sacked, Ryan Sparks came out and he said, our vision for the future is we're going to focus on the academy, we're going to focus on young players, bringing them up into the team, and then all of a sudden brings a new manager in and that vision goes. We don't have a structure at the club that's for the future. Nobody knows what's going to happen next season.
Yeah, so Jamie, because we're streaming on TikTok, YouTube and other social sites, we've had Darren off TikTok, well said, Jamie, and then he's put, I agree with Jamie. So you got people agreeing with you, Jamie, what you're saying, bud?
Yeah, question for you guys then. Next season, yes, we're going to have a lower budget, unfortunately. If we've got less fans, we've got a lower budget. Would you be happy to actually bring in younger players on less money, maybe a couple up from the conference, even if we know it's going to take them two seasons to thrive and develop? But if the club turns around and says, these are our future, this is where we're going to focus, and if we do that, we will still have a budget to do that. But
so would you feel like a Peterborough model, Jamie?
On these prima donnas that have done it in the past, we'll have a budget for younger players for the future.
So would you say like a Peterborough model?
Yeah, exactly like a Peterborough model, yes.
You got your hand up, Stan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the sentiment, but it's got to be of a quality, and so basically what you've got to offer. If you're going to do that, you've got to offer them something. If you like a carrot, why would they come to Bradford City? Because because if the off-field matters are still not resolved, then they'll just basically go somewhere else for more money, and somebody else will probably pay more money for them. So I don't disagree. However, I don't think it's as simple as that, but I could be wrong.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Away days are great, but there's nothing quite like playing at home. The same goes for McDonald's. Maximise your home advantage with McDelivery. You in? Order now on the McDonald's app. At participating restaurants, 18 plus, serving times, delivery fee and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
So we've had the best name ever on YouTube. I hope we've got Saudi Oil Prince on YouTube. I hope you're an Oil Prince. Go on by Bradford. A director of football with experience in football could easily do what Jamie has said. Yep. Labib, you've got your hand up, Mud?
Yeah, so just to go back on this model or strategy of developing younger players and bringing them through, the critical point behind that is that you still need a level of investment, right, if you want that model. So to put it bluntly, young players are hit and miss. You never know if they're going to make it or not. In order to rely upon that strategy, you need a bigger pool of younger players. So take, for example, our academy. How many of those will make it through into the first team? There's only been Bobby who's made it into the first team out of a group of like 15, 16 players. So if you put in that strategy into place, you need a far bigger pool of younger players and you need to invest. So whilst long term it might pay dividends, to start that ball rolling, you need money to set that up and get it running. That's my view on it.
So I'm just going to go through the players who Bradford City have brought in the 2003.
I think further to what Labib's just said, I think everything that happens has a cost financially. Yeah. So whether and obviously. It's going to be difficult because the club's being run on this particular model of fans and bums on seats. It's right. You'd be competing with academies in the area against Huddersfield Town, against Leeds United, and further afield. So it's a great idea, but unfortunately, I don't think it's as simple as that. But obviously, I highly commend Jamie for that idea. There's nothing wrong with that model at all.
So players who we've brought in, Stan, we've had Lewis Richardson, 21-year-old, Ash Taylor, 32, Alex Patterson, 25, Sam Walker, 32, Tyler Smith, 24, Clark O'Dwyer, 24, Kevin McDonald, 34, Callum Cava, 20, Adam Wilson, 23, Daniel, I just call him Okie Koki because I can never pronounce his name, 20, Tariq Wright, who's on loan, 22, Tuluk, who came and then disappeared back to West Brom and then got his contract terminated, 22-year-old, Jonathan Tompkinson, 21 from Norwich, and Christian Afko, 19 from Villa, who went back in the loan period. So we've got a bit of a model where we bring in a bit of youth but a bit of experience, but I agree with Jamie. I feel like the Peterborough model would suit Bradford City down to a T if we had the right people in charge of the club. For example...
Sorry for interrupting you, Johnny, but how many of those young lads is the manager given a chance to? He keeps them going back to his experienced professionals in the which are all towards the older end. So we need the right manager to give the opportunities out to the younger players.
Yeah. Because
I think at the same time, though, if you look at those players that you've just gone through, how many of those would you say have been a success this season?
I don't think any of them.
Exactly. So that's the point I'm making. If you want to rely upon younger players coming through, you need a much bigger pool, because the law of averages will dictate only one or two might be successful. So if you're pinning your strategy on signing under 21-year-olds, for example, or under 23-year-olds, you're going to have to sign a load in the hope that one or two will make it through and they'll be of the right quality. So it goes back to that investment, is what we're saying. It's a good strategy to have, but you need to back it up.
Do you think any of those younger players may actually have done better if they get given a run in the team, knowing that at the start they're not going to be great? Look at Kieran Kelly. I think he's done a lot better now that he's had a run in the squad, whereas at first, when he was a bit player, he didn't do great, but being given a run in the squad has developed him as a player.
I don't necessarily agree. I think Kelly looked good.
I don't own Kelly, but he's been with us a long time. Sorry about him, but...
Yeah, I think Kelly always looked good, to be honest. I think last season he was coming off the bench, making the odd appearance here and there. Never looked out of place, always looked relatively solid. And the counter-argument is somebody like Clark O'Dwyer, right? Played the first few games, looked hopeless, had a bit of a good spell. He had like 2 or 3 good games, and now he's just reverted back to his normal self, looks absolutely useless half the time. And that's the point I'm making. Signing young players, they are going to be inconsistent. They are going to be hit and miss. Some of them will work, some of them won't. The only ones that we've signed, for me, that shows any sort of potential is Kavanagh. I think he's got the potential to really kick on and really improve. All the other young lads that we've signed, for me, have been, like I said, very much hit and miss.
So we've had Chris.
I think as well, you kind of need some experience in there with them, because it's all right to give them a couple of seasons, but if they get to the point where, because they're obviously learning the trade still, they get relegated, then we can't afford to do that either.
I felt really sorry for Noah Wadsworth coming on Saturday, because a young lad making his debut, first time on the pitch for the first team. He'd been on the bench a couple of times, and we throw him on for the last few minutes in a game in which we're getting hammered. Surely, as a young player, you don't want that as a memory, of your first kind of league debut. You want to kind of get on the pitch when you're winning, and you're in a position of strength, and you can kind of play to your strengths, and you can kind of, really kind of show off your abilities. You don't want to be coming on when you're 3-0 down. And, it's a bit of a mess, really.
I'm glad you said that, Labib, because I was thinking that as well at the weekend, and you just reminded me of that. And, and it's similar when he's just put Bobby on, sort of talking appearances, where he's putting on like 5 minutes to go. Well, like, how's he going to make an impact? And then you can turn around and say, well, I've played him, it doesn't make sense. And I was thinking exactly that for the young lad who made his full debut on Saturday.
So we've had Chris Potter on Twitter. Sorry, we need a youth link up again with Leeds and Huddersfield. Get their exciting youth players to us on loan to develop, with a potential of buying them or to sell them for more. So is everyone still there? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can still hear you. I'm just keeping quiet.
So with the transfer structure then, do you think Stephen Gent needs to go?
Yes.
Labib?
I don't know. Because last summer, I thought we had a really, really good recruitment window. We brought in some very, very good players, right? Harry Lewis, Brad Halliday, Matty Platt. Most of them tended to work. We brought in Tyreek Wright on loan, and I think there were far more successes than there were failures. Okay, there were people like Costello and Nevers who weren't up to much. So last summer worked really, really well. This summer was awful in terms of our recruitment. Really poor kind of quality signings, I thought. So I don't know. I know a lot of people are criticising him, and people take the make of him having this Middlesbrough connection, and they've got to be connected to Middlesbrough before they come to the club, and all this, that, and the other. But one year was brilliant, next year was poor. So I don't know, hit and miss.
We don't know if Gent's got his hands tied behind his back either, do we? Because he's in a position where he can only really advise, go for this one, go for that one. So we don't know. I'm a don't know, same as you, Labib.
Yeah. I think for me, sorry, Labib. I think for me, like I said, I've said this before, but just for those that haven't heard me rambling on about it, but I would love to be a fly in the wall in terms of like after the Carlisle game, not just straight after, like a few weeks after or whatever. When they sat down, what were the rationale? What was the thinking, just in general, behind what they thought was needed for this season? Because me and mate, thinking. I think to a certain degree, he's Gents made those signings and they've brought them in, and Hughes has got to have had a look at the likes of Taylor and Danny Onyegoiki and thinking, shit, sort of what have we got here? It isn't adequate. And Clark Odwar coming in as supposedly coming in as a left wing back and saying, I'm not a left back. And so he's played him in a 10 or out wide. So suddenly you're having to go rejig your sort of signings, and then he's having to sort of almost felt like it was probably a little bit of a panic sort of stations, because you kind of done your recruitment, and then when you see the recruits come in, and you kind of, if you got a pair of eyes and a functioning brain, thinking, I'm not so sure about these lads we brought in.
So we've got.
I agree. I think last summer was probably about 70 to 75% success rate in terms of the signings.
Before we go,
that wall would be pretty crowded if we could all be flies on wall, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So before we go to Bantam, we've had Callie got a hand up, and Bantam. Before we go to Bantam, we know Callie's got a hand up, and I know she's going to disappear in a bit. So, Kelly?
Yeah, I just want to say, we're talking, the protest is aimed at Sparks and the top dogs, if you like. But if you get all these people out and get new people in, get a new recruitment person in, if them players don't perform on the pitch and they don't play with the passion and the Yorkshire spirit that we need for our team, it's not going to matter. If they don't play as a team, what's the point? And that's what they're doing right now, and they have been doing for the past few games.
Yeah.
But isn't that down to Alexander, though, or whoever the manager is, to coach them?
Yeah, but even if he coaches, that's what the point I'm trying to get across. Even if he's coaching them, it's not working. They're not still playing as a team. But how can we play like an amazing team and beat teams like Derby in cup runs, and then and have good results away from home, and then actually play at home and get nowhere? I can remember a few seasons back, Valley Parade was like a fortress. I think we went a full season, didn't we, without losing?
We did indeed.
The point that you've made, Callie, reminds me of Phil Parkinson. And if you remember back, I think he actually made that point at the time, is that he wanted to sign players with a certain character, with a certain mentality, and that was his recruitment strategy.
And that worked, didn't it?
And it works, yeah. You bring somebody in with the right mentality. I'll make this point, and I'll kind of, you can shoot me down if you want to. If you look at somebody like Gary Neville, right? Perhaps not the most technically gifted player, Gary Neville, but he would absolutely run through brick walls for that team. And we've had players like that in the past. People like Wayne Jacobs, perhaps not the most gifted, talented player, but
McMahon comes to mind for me.
absolutely play your heart out. And it's what Lee said at the beginning. It's not necessarily about technical ability; it's about that absolute determination
and the spirit
to work hard and the spirit.
Exactly.
If you don't get that player, it's not going to work. Especially with in a big crowd and at Valley Parade and all of that stuff we've spoken about. If they haven't got it, upstairs, it ain't going to work.
No.
So we've had.
I think that comes down to due diligence, doesn't it? When you're signing players, how much is research is done into the mental side of the player? Speaking to, maybe they do it to a certain degree, but speaking to teammates, managers that they've managed under, and so on. Because it almost seems like we're signing players on a spreadsheet based on,
There's a massive illustration that we've had at Valley Parade. Remember Gary Jones? We signed his teammate in that great Rochdale side, didn't we? And he didn't last 2 minutes because he didn't have the heart that Gary Jones has got. He had some skills, but that was it.
Sorry about it, guys. We've got Bantam who's been waiting for a while.
Yeah, you've got to have some ability, though, and I think you've got to have the right balance, haven't you? That sort of player with the mental fortitude. I think for me, I've said this recently, and I'm not 100% laying my sort of cards down on the table with regards to this opinion, but in terms of when you think of what the players have had, in the past I would have been hard on the players, but when you think of so they've had the disappointment of the playoff defeat. They've had a summer where they've had weeks off, and as you know, the worst thing in football is when you've lost, is to basically, wait a long time between now and the next game. Then you're talking about the turmoil off the field. Your manager getting sacked, then they bring in Kev McDonald, and he plays a different way. Then he says, "Look, I'm not good enough." So then they go through the rigmarole where basically, seemingly the 20th choice comes in, and then they've been brought in to play a certain way, and then suddenly somebody who's coming in and playing a different way to what they've been sort of used to for some of them a season and a half, season and a bit. So yes, the easiest thing for a player to do is run 100%. I'm 100% agreement with that. If you're having a bad game, you can turn a 4 or a 5 out of 10 into a 6 out of 10 just by working hard. So I have no issues with that sort of thoughts whatsoever. But I do think something's gone on in the within the coaching staff and the team that they basically maybe had a fallout or just think this guy hasn't got a clue. When you see the players that he's playing out of position, and then you basically hang them out to dry because you're kind of asking them to do something that they've not been used to doing. And I agree with Callie and I agree with Labib in the sense that yes, the players do need to give everything, but sort of at the same time, no, they're being coached, and how well are they being coached? I've heard a couple of rumours, and I'm not going to sort of say anything because I don't want to come across as in the know, because these are only rumours, but which suggests that I don't think the players respect him.
So we've had. Are you there, Bantam? I know you've been waiting a while. Are you there, Bantam? Are you still there, Bantam? Can you hear me? Are you gonna? I know you've been waiting a while. You need to unmic your mic if you want to speak. Okay, he's gone. Is anyone else got anything they want to say?
I haven't. I think everybody said it.
I was just going to say it's all been said, I think.
Apart from, I know, can we just go on, what about the new ticketing system? Because I tried on Saturday to get Salford ticket as a season ticket holder, and it said I wasn't eligible. I had to ring the ticket office up to get it sorted out.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's saying that you season ticket holders and you can't even get onto it to get your ticket. Because I ended up having to do my mates as well.
Yeah, and I can't even see where my loyalty points are.
I can't.
They've disappeared, yeah.
I can't at all. But yeah, my luckily they let me get my mates' tickets as well for her. But it's just this new ticketing system. Even the guy in the ticket office said, why they've changed it, we don't know. And that is how bad it is if the ticket office is saying that.
Sorry, Diane, I know Bantam's come back. Are you there, Bantam? Are you there, Bantam, or have you gone? Is he gone again? Are you there, Bantam? Can you hear us? Okay. Are you there, mate?
I've been having some trouble. I've had to be coming in and out, Johnny, so I don't know at which end the technical issues are.
Okay. I'll give you one more chance, Bantam, if you want to leave and come back, try again. If you can hear me. Okay, so has anyone else had problems with the ticket office?
Yes.
Yeah, Georgia has as well, because George is on the she's had trouble. She had to go down to the ground to get it sorted out.
Yeah, I saw that. Saw it on, I think, your Facebook, Georgia Love, about it with your issues.
Has anybody not had issues with a new ticketing system? It'll probably be a better question. Because everybody I've spoken to has had issues, and they're all the same issues.
Mine's been okay. I managed to go on and get my Grimsby tickets.
Oh, Georgia wants to speak, so Miss Georgia should be here now. Are you there, Georgia Love?
I am.
Okay. So is there anything you want to talk about, the ticketing or the ownership or the protests on Friday?
Ticketing. I had to go down at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning just to get my ticket sorted because obviously Littleton being disabled, I have to get a disabled help ticket on the side. And because they're not on the system no more, you've got to physically go down or phone up on the phone to get them sorted. Which I think is ridiculous considering that they were on there before.
Yeah, my main problem with the other day, I think, is the ticket office doesn't know what Ticketmaster are doing, because I went and got my Grimsby ticket and saw the ticket, obviously told Callie about it. And then I went home and found out the tickets were live for Walsall. So I've gone all the way to ground and they were like, what do you mean they're for sale? And I'm like, yeah, they're for sale. And turns out I just went home and bought them online and still not come yet, but that was the other day. But Crypto Bantam, are you there, mate? Crypto?
Hiya, can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. You're coming loud and clear.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're all well. Just a couple of points. I've just been listening in. I've not managed to make the last couple of podcasts. I've listened, but I've been a bit busy. I've been best man at a wedding, and then I've been away working and stuff like that. Was it the Mansfield game where Andy Cook wasn't playing with what's his apples? Was it Halliday? To his left on.
Yeah, they're both on the bench, weren't they, for the Mansfield game. Andy Cook came on and scored.
So I had a friend who we usually go with, and he was in the 9/11 bar, watching it from up there with some of his friends. Said got a big meal thing, all that, and he was stood next to Andy Cook's partner, Tariq Wright's partner, and Jamie Walker's partner. And I'm not saying this is true what I'm going to say, but I'm just repeating basically what he heard out of Andy Cook's wife's or girlfriend, whatever she is to him, mouth, and that was basically the players aren't buying into Alexander's methods, and Andy Cook is thinking about leaving at end of season. Now, whether that's true, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that I'm in the know or anything like that, but that comes from his wife. And to be fair, like Paul, the lad who told me, he did turn around and say that she'd had a few beers as well. So
if we say that is true, Crypto, though, he's just signed a 3-year deal. So obviously, if he does go, I don't blame him, to be honest, if he goes. The club's up a river, a paddle at the minute, Shit Creek, putting it. the club would obviously get quite a bit of money for Cookie because he's the star player of the team, isn't he? I think he's scored like 17, 18 goals this season.
Yeah.
He's up there with goals. He's still scoring.
17 in all competitions in a side that's playing really poorly. I don't think that's bad going.
I mean, we've got. Don't forget, we've got Jake Young, and we've got Kavanagh. So, and if the club are, struggling for money, and it turns out that next season there ain't as many people renewing and stuff like that, it may be an option where we think, do you know what, let's cash in on him and use as existing strikers that we've got with the club, and maybe bring on a couple from the youth academy, give them a run.
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly get bear with me for 10 seconds on the pitch.
How old is Andy Cook now?
Is he 30 something?
He's definitely 30 something. Well, he's 32, 33.
We're thinking about.
Yeah, I thought he was like 31, 32, something like that.
So just a general question to everybody, because we're going to start winding down in a couple of minutes. So Sam Walker, would you keep or get rid?
Keep.
Absolutely.
Keep.
Definitely keep.
Well,
George
Darren's
Love?
a no-brainer with that one.
Keep him. It's not his fault that it's to do with the defenders as well, not defending either. So it's some of the defenders that need to go.
So Colin Doyle.
Yeah,
Keep a coach, maybe.
Yeah, keep a coach.
Keep a coach.
And then we've got Heath Richardson, who's currently out on loan.
Don't know.
We've not seen no of him, to say.
Okay. So then we move on to defenders. Brad Halliday.
Keep.
No brainer, definitely keep.
Keep him.
Liam Rydhall.
Nah.
Gone.
I would let him go, actually. Personally.
I would.
Okay. Everyone's favourite player, Ash Taylor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's mic off.
Okay. Moving on, Matty Platt.
Keep.
Keep.
Yeah, keep him.
Sam Stubbs.
Keep.
Keep.
Yeah.
Currently out on loan at the minute, Luke Hendry.
I think he's already gone, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Kelly.
Keep.
I would keep him.
I would.
Keep.
Oh my God.
Keep him.
Odesina, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, out on loan.
Think he'll be gone.
Get rid.
Obviously, we've got Okie he's leaving.
And he hasn't been given a chance, has he? And Alexander hasn't seen him, so I don't know with Odesina.
So then we've got Harry Rowe as well, who's currently youngster.
Keep him.
Keep him.
Yeah, we need the youngsters.
Yeah. Same with Finn.
Finn Cousin Dawson.
I'd keep him. I like Finn.
Yeah.
Good player.
Lewis
Playing
Richardson.
well on loan.
Richardson,
Lewis Richardson.
I'd keep him.
Yep.
So then we've got Noah Wadsworth, who came on for his first game.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously the best player, I think, in the defence at the minute. Would you like to sign him or not bother? Jonathan Tompkinson.
There's no chance.
Sign.
Sign him.
No chance of signing him, but I'd sign him.
It's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
and
rated.
Should do.
I don't
everyone's
know if we could afford his wages if we were to sign him properly.
Yeah.
and everyone's second favourite best player, who's especially good at free kicks. If anyone's from Wrexham listening, Richard Smallwood.
You mean Deadwood?
Go.
Get rid.
Well, I can tell you now, the views from a 7-year-old, he wants him gone.
He does.
Always had it. 7-year-old wants him gone. Jamie Walker.
Keep.
Keep.
I'm not so sure on Jamie Walker.
Why's that, Labib?
Yeah, why's that, babe?
The last, how long's he been with us? Two full seasons, 2.5 seasons.
Yeah.
He's
season in
missed a
total.
big chunk.
Over to you.
Yeah, so he's missed a fair chunk of this season. He missed a fair chunk of last season, so his injury record isn't good. On his day, I think he's very, very good. Earlier on, I was talking about consistency and confidence. I don't think he's consistent enough over 90 minutes, let alone from game to game. When he plays well, our team plays well, but when he doesn't, we don't take. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's consistently good enough, apart from being injury prone.
You've got your hand up, Jamie?
Yeah, I think I agree totally with Labib in terms of I'd be 50-50 just because of his injury record. I'd maybe offer him a contract that's heavily incentivized based on his amount of performances, because I think the time injured, really, we can't keep on keeping these players that are injured more than half the season.
But if you look at his injury, though, I mean, somebody broke his leg on a disgusting tackle, like a Donny back in December. But he was out for weeks.
Even last season.
Yeah, but last season he had an operation. But the second half of last season, when he played till the end of the season, we went from drawing at home to picking up wins, and he definitely had a positive effect on the team. I'm 100% keep. I think he's one of the best players in the club, and the work he did over the summer for his fitness. I think if he hadn't have had that broken leg, he would have been close to Brad as being one of the best players of the season. I mean, Brad's a country mile, but for me, Jamie Walker's been up there.
And then we've got Alex Pattison.
Don't know.
We might as well let him see his contract out and let's see what he's got.
Yeah.
Because he could be a good backup if Walker goes, couldn't he? Because he's that same sort of player.
What about Alex Gilead?
Keep.
He's a old
Definitely keep.
Clark Adwoa?
No. Go.
No.
Bye-bye.
Harry Chapman?
I'd keep.
I don't know.
Okay. And everyone's favourite last name, especially if you like your McDonald's, Kevin McDonald.
Keep.
I'd
Play coach if need be.
Freddie Jeffries, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, youth player.
Keep him.
Keep. I heard that he's good.
And now on to forwards. I'm going to miss out Callum Cav because he's just signed. Andy Cook.
Sell.
Sorry, did someone just say sell?
Yeah, me, crypto banter, me. I know everyone's going to give me loads of incoming, but if we've got Jake Young. I know. We've got Jake Young. We've got Kavanagh. We've got other players on fringes.
Wouldn't you like to see Jake Young play with Cook consistently? I would.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But if Cook's, thinking about leaving the club, no player's bigger than the club, and if we can cash in on him, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Cook, I like him a lot, but if there's friction between him and the manager, and he's not buying into the way, then maybe it might be time to cash in.
After Friday, we might not have him.
And what about Tyler Smith?
Out there, what do you do?
Tyler Smith can go.
Tyler Smith.
I'm not good personally.
No, who said get rid?
Me, Labib.
Who's me? Labib. So why get rid of Tyler Smith, Labib?
I don't think he's good enough. I think he'd struggle in the National League, if I'm honest. The only goals he scored has been in that Trophy Cup game against other reserve sides and academy sides. I just don't see what he brings to the team. He scored 2-3 half-decent goals, but not good enough over the season.
And I don't think he's a team player either.
And, okay, I thought I rated him when he came. Vadim Oliver, who's currently out on loan.
I'd let him go.
I'd let him go.
Let him go.
It was strange signing at the time.
As it says in the film Frozen, let it go, let it go.
I can say the other way of it, but I'm not going to say it because it's naughty way.
Oh.
Well, the code doesn't bother you anyway. Right, moving on to Bobby Poynton.
Keep
for sure.
I'll give him a 20-year contract.
If we can. If we can hang on to him, yeah.
And, oh my lord, I know he's currently out on loan a minute. Youngster Dylan Yombi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yombi, yeah.
Or Yumbi.
I've heard lots of good things about him.
Don't know anything about him.
I've heard.
Shall I say that again, Jamie?
I've heard lots of good things about him, and I think it was Harry Lewis said last season he's got one of the strongest kicks that we had in our squad last season. So bring him back, give him a chance.
Keep him for sure. I agree. I've heard good things.
Keep the young'uns.
Yeah.
And moving on to a player who's disappeared from the team completely and not been seen for a while, Matt Derbyshire.
Get rid.
Isn't he coaching?
He's got some sort of weird deal, hasn't he, with Alexander?
It's doing player coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
still registered though.
Keep.
Yeah, 100% keep.
Keep.
Get young.
Get young, keep.
Adam Wilton.
Keep
Wilson. Another season.
Keep. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd keep him.
And what I find really strange is how come Rahin Tulik has reappeared back on the first team?
It's a glitch on the website. I spoke to Simon Parker and a couple of friends that I've got, and it's just a glitch. They're not sure, but they can't seem to get rid of it now. He's not a player at Bradford City, though. That is, you can be assured, he's not.
Okay. And last but not least, Tariq Wright.
Send back.
Yeah.
Would you send him back?
Yeah.
Buy him?
Dion Pereira all over again, innit?
Yeah.
Right. And we've got two more things to do before we disappear. And it's everybody's favourite weather forecast. So I'm going to move over to Mr. Stan, who's going to say his one-liner.
Yes, the weather forecast is sponsored by myself, Stan Jammer Photography, where capturing your image is my focus.
So on Friday, the sun will rise at 05:47 and sunset at 6:38. On Friday, it seems going to be a bit sunny with a bit of rain, so you probably need to bring your big coat. And that is Friday's weather forecast. And let's leave on a very polite note, shall we? What's on your plate time? If you watch CBBS, I normally have to get lumped watching it with my little one. 12 o'clock, what's on your plate? So what have you had for your tea, Diane?
I've had chicken wrapped in bacon with peas and carrots and air-fried new potatoes.
Ooh, how many sins is bacon?
Shut up, I don't know that. I'm not sinning it. It was nice. And it had a mushroom thingy in it. It was from Butcher's. Dad bought me it. What more can I say?
You do right. Better what you fancy does you good.
I don't ask for your tea, Labib.
Not saying a word.
So no, well, as you probably know, it's Ramadan, so I've been fasting. So I ate about 6:30, just a light snack of some hummus and pita bread.
How are you getting on with your fasting?
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's relatively easy, I would say, because it's you're only going to about 6:30 p.m. So it's not too bad. In the summer months, obviously, it's much harder, where it goes on to like 9:30 at night. So it's not too bad.
How long do you fast for now? Is it until a certain date?
We're about halfway through, so we've got about another 2 weeks left.
Yeah. Good luck with it all.
Thank you.
Stan?
Just on the fasting thing, it's no different to one meal a day. I guess some people eat just one meal a day, but I had just sausages on my plate for my tea.
Okay,
that was it. Just sausages.
Yeah, a new brand, just sausages.
Yep.
Yeah.
Heck.
Crypto. Is it your crypto?
Yeah. I've had my tea. I went to Pizza Hut and I got myself deep pan ham and mushroom.
Did you have pineapple?
Garlic drizzle.
No pineapple.
No, just ham and mushroom with garlic drizzle. But I do like pineapple. But
yeah,
no.
Me too.
And Georgia, before we get to you, we've had someone called Grace on TikTok. Everyone says bubbles for Georgia.
Bubbles.
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 Baby, bubbles.
Are you still there, George, or have you disappeared?
I think she'll kill her sister.
Because Diane will know that is my sister, and she's now going to go get it from the 7-year-old.
Oh.
So
God help her sister now.
Screaming in the background.
So World War III is now kicking off at George's house. Yep. So hopefully George is going to be a peacemaker. And I want to say, just going to start muting there. That one. I say thank you everybody for coming along today. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and apologise again for moving it from Monday. I just wanted to get it on from the Radio Leeds. If you like what you're listening to, we've got Chickens on the Loose podcast on all podcast services. We've also got a little Facebook page, Bradford City Up the Chickens on Facebook, where you can do Super 6 every season. And also before games, probably going to go live in the next 10-15 minutes, actually, Golden Goal for Friday. And also YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, every social site going. Chickens on the Loose podcast, hit a follow. And hopefully Bradford City do well on Friday. And remember, if you do go to the protest on Friday, please don't be an idiot. Please don't cause trouble. Behave yourselves. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Enjoy the rest of your night, and up the chickens.
The TalkSport Fan Network is proudly supported by McDelivery, bringing you the food you love. McDelivery brings a top-tier line of food right to your door. No matter the result, you'll always be winning with McDelivery. So, the only thing left to say is, you in? Order now on the McDonald's app, and you can also get rewards points delivered too, so that ordering today means some tasty rewards for tomorrow. Only via app at participating restaurants, 18+. Rewards registration required. Points only on menu items. Delivery fee and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.